Yay, there's more than 2 people that made it to this point in the day. That's always exciting. So I'm Sherrie Rohde, as he said. I'm the community manager at Magento. Who here is here for their first Magento event ever? Anyone? Okay, awesome. So my first Magento event, and Karen is not telling the truth. She's been to about 500 of them, maybe more. But my first Magento event was actually the first Imagine in 2011, and I was crazy nervous because I hadn't met anyone in the Magento community in person yet. But this picture is from the first night, so clearly I got over that pretty quickly. But I'm really excited that you're here. I'm really excited that what started as a meetup has now grown to an event, to a conference for you guys. It's really awesome. And I'm going to share with you a bit about a question I get asked a lot ever since I started working for Magento, which is how do I get involved in the Magento community? Obviously, you know part of that because you're here, and that's a great way, but there's a few other things. So, just to look at what the community does together. So in 2017, I know we're now in 2018, but it's not over yet, so here's some 2017 numbers for you. But the community created over 1,500 pull requests for Magento 2 on GitHub, presented over 750 talks around Magento or at Magento-centered events like this around the world, produced over 200 podcast episodes. Who's tried to listen to all of those? Those Mage Titans guys never stop talking, right? Organized and produced conferences and meetup groups in over, this says 20, but I think it was actually over 30 countries. Wrote at least 3 books about Magento. I think I lost track at some point. Contributed to official product documentation, wrote countless blog posts to raise awareness and education of the Magento platform, and answered thousands, if not more than thousands, of questions on both Stack Exchange and the forums. So really what I'm saying is basically you guys are the best, and I really appreciate all that you've done to help the community move forward together. I think as the Magento community, we understand that community is not about you and it's not about me, but it's about we. It's about what we can all do together. It's not about our individual efforts as much as our collective efforts. Or as John Woodall from Space 48 in the UK and Mage Titans said, it's about connecting, it's about communicating, and it's about collaborating. And I think that's an easy way to remember it. So, oops. We good? I watched people fix that earlier. I got it. All right. You got to free up some space on your computer. So I think the most important thing to remember when you're getting involved in the community is to focus on thought leadership. So has anyone ever walked up to you and just like started talking about themselves incessantly and not stopped? It gets really annoying, right? So thought leadership is more about sharing your expertise versus than just trying to sell yourself to people. It's where you really tap into the talent, the experience, and the passion in your business. And it helps you provide the best answers to your customers' biggest questions. So really what you want to do is look at what is your field of expertise. What is it that you know really, really well, that you're really passionate about and can help other people with? And that's really the greatest way to start getting involved in the community is to share that expertise. So I have a few examples of that, of people in our community who blog on their expertise and are really thought leaders in those areas. So the first one is Shipper HQ, actually. Whenever I think about shipping, I think about Shipper HQ, and this is why. We can be out doing who knows what, playing darts at a bar, and Karen will be like, I just got this notification. Something's wrong with this shipping carrier. I got to make sure my customers know to have their backup carrier in place. And that's how you know that someone is really, really passionate about what they do, which is great. And so the Shipper HQ blog is a great place to go for anything shipping related, and that's who I think of as thought leaders in that area. Whenever I think of thought leaders for tax, I think of TaxJar. They're constantly sharing all these things about tax that I never knew was like interesting or even a thing. They have like Wacky Tax Wednesday where it's like if a bagel is sliced, then it's taxed differently than if it's not sliced. I don't know, but they're really passionate about that and they share on that. Who's ever looked at the InShoe website? Anyone here? Yeah? So I remember in the early days of developing on Magento, I started as a developer back in 2007 when it first came out. There was not really any documentation. There was some, but Magento couldn't keep up with the documentation as the product evolved, but InShoe could. And so that's what a lot of people look to, is to their blog to really learn Magento. And the same is true with Outwix. Outwix does a great job maintaining developer content as well and sharing their expertise in development. And who here knows Alan Storm? Or of him? Right. So he's another great source for that. But moving on beyond area of expertise, I want to look at where can I get involved. Did I do that? Sorry. So there's a few places. Some you may know of, some you may not. The forums are a great one. So Magento Forums, go to community.magento.com. I'm a little biased because this is kind of my baby, but Magento Forums, you can go and answer questions. A lot of people have questions, but also you can go and get involved just by asking questions. So that's how I originally got involved in the community, is I had a lot of questions and I asked them, and then as I learned answers, I started helping other people answering questions that I then knew the answers to, so that everyone else could then keep helping me learn more. And that's a great way to get involved, whether you're asking or whether you're answering or whether you're doing both. There's a lot of opportunity there. The same is true with Stack Exchange. We have a Magento, I shouldn't say we, but as the community, we have a Magento version of Stack Exchange where you can do similar Q&A. We also have translations. Has anyone here ever helped with the Magento translations? No? No one in here? You have? Yeah? Okay. So that's a great place to go and help translate the product into different locales, depending on what your area needs are and what your expertise is with language. And GitHub. Who was in here for Max's talk earlier? Anyone in here for Max's talk? Okay. I don't want to spend too much time here because he covered this pretty thoroughly already on how you can get involved contributing to the code, but it is obviously a very important part of getting involved in the community. So Magento 2 is on GitHub. I think everyone in this room knows that. And there's a few different ways you can go in there. You can go to the community dashboard and look for an issue that needs help. You can also look at the community pull requests and see what you can help with there. But more importantly, they have a wiki as well as a documentation on how to contribute to DevDocs, to the code, as well as there is a Slack instance, which if you don't have the URL from earlier, just ask me or ask Max and we can help you get that, and that will really welcome you into the community where you can work more on contributions and get that help one-on-one in learning how. There's also several community projects out there that you can get involved in. So I don't have any specific examples in here right now, but things like the various PWA projects that are going on. There's many different types of community projects that are not projects that we own, but they're projects that are helpful to the community. Is that me? That's over there. Okay. That's not distracting at all. Okay. So also on GitHub is our documentation, devdocs.magento.com. You can go there, find an area that you can really help with contributions for. Also, one thing that I heard as advice once was that if you're nervous about starting to contribute and you don't know where to start, look for a typo and just submit a pull request to fix the typo, because something that simple, you'll learn the process of contributing and you'll be less concerned about the actual coding work done. And so that helps you learn the process, and then from there you can expand on other things. You probably will find a typo to fix because, let's be honest, it happens. But they also have suggested topics for contribution. And again, it goes back to your field of expertise. What is it that you know really well about the product that you could help with documentation for? What is something that you're passionate about helping others figure out? Or just something that you want to make sure is there so that when you have to find it again later, it's there for you. Speaking in events, you're here at an event. That means you're getting involved in the Magento community, right? That's awesome. So there's various ways. There's hackathons. Magento puts on hackathons in Europe, but there's other organizations that do it around here. Do you guys do hackathons in Singapore? Yeah? Okay. I know I saw one for a different code source across the way earlier. I was like, which way do I go? Hackathon, meet Magento, hackathon, meet Magento. Just kidding. We also recently have introduced contribution days, which are specifically focused on contributing to Magento through the projects that Max and his team are doing with the community. You guys had one yesterday. Who was there? Yeah? Okay, a few of you. Awesome. Those are great. That's where they can really help you learn how to make a contribution, help you get used to the process, and really welcome you into any of the projects they're working on that you'd like to get involved in. Meetups is a really easy way to get involved. You guys have one here. I know. That's awesome. It's very cool that that has grown into this event. But that is a great way to continue the conversation and to get involved in the community. Does anyone here go to the Singapore meetup already? Okay, like 3 people. That means the rest of you have room to grow and can join the meetup. Meet Magento events. We're here at one. I don't really need to say more about that, but they're all over the world. Mage Titans is a developer-focused conference. It's a one-day single-track event for developers, and that's another, just one of the many events. Our annual conference takes place in Vegas. It's called Imagine. It's taking place May 13th through 15th in 2019. And before that, we have Magento Live in Barcelona, in Europe, just next month. Are we in August or September? I don't know. In October. So that's another great way to get involved with the community. And besides that, if you go online and look, we have online events that happen as well throughout the year, whether that's webinars with the product team or the community engineering team or whatever it may be. And maybe that's something where your company wants to get involved and host a webinar with us, and we can do that too. The one thing I wanted to point out is through all of these, there's always a lot of opportunities to be up here on this stage. It's really fun, I promise. And whether it's at a conference or whether it's at a meetup where it's a little easier to get into speaking, just keep an eye out for call for papers, keep an eye out for opportunities to really start presenting. This is just a screenshot from the Magento speaker directory where we're trying to really help connect event organizers and potential speakers. Whether you have speaking experience or not, you can indicate that in there. And you can also go in there and look for a speaking mentor. I believe this is at bit.ly/Magento speaker directory, but if you want to know where it is, just ask me and I'll get you the link. If you haven't spoken before and you want to get started, this book, actually Karen recommended to me. It's a great read. It just helps you be a little bit more comfortable with how to present yourself on stage. Don't take me as an example. It's a great book, I promise. What to wear to not be distracting during your talk and things like that. Most of all, get creative. So again, going back to your field of expertise, what is it that you're passionate about? Maybe there's something that you really like to do, something you're really knowledgeable in that you feel like would be beneficial to the Magento community, but it doesn't already exist. You can identify a need, a gap that needs to be filled. For example, Philip Jackson and Kaylin Jordan were hanging out late night at Imagine, our annual conference, one time, and they're like, hey, there's no English-speaking podcast about Magento. We should start one. And something like a year and a half later, they did. So there's always opportunities like that. Vinay Kopp started Mage2.tv because he knew that there was a need for training videos for people in using Magento too. Rebecca Brockton started e-commerce for us on YouTube, and she makes great videos there, whether they're about events or whether they're about different things in the code, or even just pretending what it would be like if we shopped offline like we do online. And she's really just identified her passion for video and how she can use that to help the Magento community and to get involved there. And the same with TJ Gamble. He actually didn't have a background in video, but he's learned so much along the way while doing this. He's got a pretty killer studio now, sweet graphics going on every week, and he brings in some great guests to share about different parts of the community. And then we also have the Innovation Lab. So the Innovation Lab is a great place to really, if you have like a cool project that you're working on that you want to get out there in front of more people, it's a great place to really share that. So we have different windows. I don't actually know if we have a submission window open right now, which I should know, but I don't know. But if you're working on something like, say, there was a guy down in Australia who came up with this virtual try-on for glasses. So when you go to the website, you can actually try on the glasses before you buy them. There's someone with a chatbot on there. There's just all kinds of various cool projects. And that's something where you could get involved to share that expertise, that project you've been working on. Twitter. The Magento community is always very active on Twitter. You can find them there. It's up to you which hashtag you want to use. Some people still chat on Real Magento. Some people look at Magento too. You can also just go to my account, which is my name, and look for lists, and there's one of the Magento community, and that'll help connect you with different people as well. And the Masters. So Magento Masters is something that I created about 3 years ago, and it's really a way to recognize the top contributors in the community across all these areas. So pretty much everything I've shared with you today, we look at throughout the year and see who's contributing in these different areas, and then we take those top 20 people and really just recognize them throughout the year, and also give them access to information as we have it to help keep them informed. So these 20 people that you see up here, Hirokazu's in the back there, but they are from 13 different countries across the world and represent at least 13 different communities. So as you know, you have the Magento community here in Singapore, which may be a little bit different than the Magento community in Australia, which may be a little different than the Magento community in Germany. And that's great. There's all these different sub-communities, essentially, of the broader Magento community. And together, we can come together and bring that knowledge. So getting to know these 20 individuals will help open you up to other parts of the Magento community around the world. So I want to leave you with this quote here from Mark Lavelle, who is our CEO, who now probably has a different title, but I don't actually know what that is off the top of my head because I'm a terrible person. But it was that we are here because of the community that lives and breathes and works with Magento, and that is so true, and why I really love doing what I do, because it's working with you guys and seeing what we can all accomplish together that makes the Magento community so much fun. So, any questions?
Hi, Sherrie. My name is Abhishek.
Hi.
I'm the organizer of Meet Magento Delhi NCR in India.
Okay, great.
Right, and I'm connected with your account, the organizer account.
Yes.
How can we leverage that connection between our Meetup account and connecting it with Magento's account? So if I share, or if I'm organizing a Meetup in Delhi, will that be going to all the subscribers within that group of Magento Meetup?
So that shows up actually on the portal page. So when you go to meetup.com/pro/Magento, your meetup will show there. So anyone that's looking for a Magento meetup around the world, if they're looking for one in Delhi, they'll find it there. The other thing that happens with that is I curate a weekly digest called Magento Monday. And when I publish that on our forums each week, I look through and find the upcoming events. So if you had an event coming up, then I would add that to that list, and it would get shared out that way as well.
All right, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay.
So there's one other thing I just wanted to share, and that is that we now have a community hub page on our website, and most of the things that I shared with you today are very easy to access there. So just go to magento.com, click on community, and you'll see different links on how to contribute, how to learn, how to connect, and of course you can always reach out to me. So thank you.
Thank you, Sherrie.